This is Soapbox Radio. Potting it out there with my lime boots. The Lifestyle Edit.
Hey guys, it's Ryan. It's a Thursday afternoon. It's 4 o'clock in Joburg. Sorry to hear the guys in Cape Town are having these massive storms. Hope everyone is safe down that side. We're still alive this side in Joburg and carrying on. It's a little bit chilly today, but we carry on nonetheless. We're doing a lifestyle edit show today, and I have a really inspirational guest in studio with me today. He's someone I met probably about a year ago. To me, he embodies, and I think this is the thing that really struck home with me, what the modern man really represents, and probably the Jozi modern man at that. A little bit of background to him. He was born in Impangeni in rural KwaZulu-Natal. He studied engineering and computer sciences, both locally as well as at Westminster College in London and SQL Star College in Bangalore. 2006 saw him win the SAB Kickstart Award, an award which promotes business awareness, training, and provides post-training mentorship. He is an inventor, businessman, educator, and technologist, as well as an avid traveler and foodie. Not content just with those achievements, he is a wordsmith too, authoring the book Cloud Computing for Africa. He is the CEO of HostRiver, a company that provides web hosting and cloud-based hosting solutions to organizations across Africa. Welcome, Madoda Khuzwayo.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to hear from you, brother.
Awesome.
Have I summed you up correctly?
Yeah, I think you did well there.
Yeah, so nothing that has been left out. There's quite a host of things. I had to leave a couple of things out, to be honest, to get the right timing there, but you happy with that?
No, I'm happy with this.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Madoda, tell us about growing up in rural KwaZulu-Natal in Impangeni.
Well, it was exciting. At the same time, looking back, I'm actually not sure what was exciting. It was in the village.
Yeah.
Life was very simple. You just looking after your father's cows, and then you go and play football, and that's what life is about. Okay. And then you wake up and do it all over again. For 365 days.
Yeah.
That's what life was like. And and it was a bad time in South Africa at the time, ANC, IFP, violence, etc.
Especially in KwaZulu-Natal.
Especially in KwaZulu-Natal. So it was a bit dangerous, to actually be a boy, at that time. So
especially in the rural areas of KwaZulu-Natal in that time, I think was quite a hectic space.
It was quite hectic. It became very bad.
Okay.
So, but it was okay, by God's grace, we survived.
100%. So what was going through the young Madoda's mind in those days? What dreams and passions were floating through that young man's mind in those days? Sure,
it's a very tricky question. You know the saying, you can't dream bigger than your village.
Sure.
Okay. I guess at the time, it was what was in front of you, and then what was considered trending. In the village. If I have some cows, then you are the man. If I had 5 wives, then you're the man. If you had a job in Johannesburg or in Durban, then you're the man. I guess that's what was going on really at the time. It was not, I think we were not given an opportunity or even taught how to dream. Okay. Beyond what was in front of us. Yeah.
Okay. So Joburg, Durban were big places to be aiming for in those days?
Yes, everyone in the village, as soon as they probably hit the teenage, levels, and either they finish school or they make some girl pregnant, and then they have to go to to Durban to find money for the cows, to pay the damages. So that's really how life was like in the village. Okay. It was very simple.
Are your parents still in rural KZN?
No, they've in heaven by now.
Moved on,
they've moved on. They've moved on, but I still got family, yes.
Okay, do you go back to the village?
Not too often, but I do, yes.
And feelings
maybe once a year.
Okay, and feelings when you go back there? Does it ring a chord with you on some level?
I have mixed feelings when I go there, because in one hand, it hasn't changed much.
Okay.
In terms of these people haven't been touched by the developments, they haven't been touched by technology, other than just cell phones. A lot hasn't changed, so it's sort of like, inspires me that I need to do something about this situation, and at the same time, you still have those feelings of growing up there to saying, this is how my life could have been, if I had stayed here, it's like, Jozi put it, I'm a walking contradiction.
Okay.
Don't know whether to be happy or to be sad.
I think you should be happy because your life looks pretty awesome, if you ask me. Are you still friends with people from the village? Do you maintain friendships there?
I've got family family, extended family. So my grandfather had 5 wives, 21 children, you know, so it's quite a lot of us.
Yeah, floating around.
Yeah, so I've got family, yes.
Okay, great. Guys, stay with us. And when we come back, we're going to chat a little bit more to Madoda, a little bit about his background, his varied educational background, and get a few of his views.
You're tuned in to Soapbox Radio. Podding it out there with My Line Boots. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at My Line Boots, and on YouTube at My Line Boots Live.
Great. If you guys have just joined us, I'm joined live this afternoon by Madoda Khuzwayo. We're going to tell you a little bit more about him now. Madoda, as I said in the introduction, you've studied in some interesting places, Bangalore, London. Tell us about studying in these places. What brought about that you studied in such a varied combination of places?
Quite exciting story, actually, because I came to Joburg to do high school.
Okay.
So I was just blessed with brains, you know, because I was good in mathematics, science and stuff, and I got A's in matric. I then got a bursary from ESCOM to do electrical engineering. Okay. So I went to Valley University of Technology. Having gone to high school in the township, you know, we never had opportunities to actually work with computers at all. My first time touching a computer was when I actually got to college.
Oh, really?
I always call it love at first touch.
Oh, you really? Okay.
And
the world just made sense at that point.
It just made sense at that point because I think obviously growing up poor, you never had a lot of things. And for some reason, being in front of a computer and being able to use my hands to actually create things, you know, kind of gave me that sense of power that I can actually be what I want to be. I can create the future that I wanted. So, and at that time, then I decided, you know what, I didn't want to study engineering, but I want to study IT.
Okay.
And ESCOM was looking for electrical engineers. So they said, look, dude, you got to finish whatever we gave you a bursary for. So I finished that and I decided, you know what, I'm actually not going to follow this. You know, I want to study IT. So I decided to go overseas.
Do you think the decision to study IT was an understanding that that's where the future lay?
No, I was just excited. I didn't know at the time, you know, and I think I loved creating things with it. And for me, it gave me that sense that I could actually be in control of my own life. That was the only inspiration really that made me realize. And at that time, electrical engineering was not exciting. You know, not like now, you know, now there's renewable energies, there's all sorts of things. To me, at the time, I was like, yo, I'm going to be on a blue overall fixing up power lines. And it didn't
really like that. Well, you could probably do like a tower swing from one power line to the other, so maybe there's a bit of a missed opportunity on that.
So I didn't like the idea, you know, but looking back, either or, you know, I could have probably have made it work. Then I decided to go to the UK. Strange life there, you know, because I took a holiday maker visa, so you could do anything, you know, do some kind of odd jobs, working in the hotels, washing dishes, to retail, you know, raising the money to actually go to school. And then eventually I put myself through school.
Yeah. Okay. So you went to London, you studied in Westminster?
Yes, Westminster College, yes. I did e-commerce and information systems there. And when I finished, I wanted to write my certification exams, you know, your Oracle, Microsoft and all of that. In fact, I wanted to go to the US to actually do that, but it was just after the Twin Towers, you know, so getting to the States was a really bit tricky, especially trying to get visas from a country where you're not a resident of, you know, it was a bit tough. So I ended up in India, you know, because these exams are very international. So I ended up in India to actually go and do my exam, which it happened was actually a good move, you know, because at the time, that's when India was big on outsourcing call centers and everything was in Bangalore.
Was happening.
You know, and that actually inspired me to start a business. Because when I went there, just seeing young guys owning call centers, you know, and making big bucks.
Inspire you, huh?
It didn't inspire me to actually start a business.
Okay. All right, 100%. So it's good to hear. In 2006, you won the SAB Kickstart Award. Was this a turning point for you?
It was a continuation in a way because I came back to South Africa in 2005.
Yeah.
And then I started a business. Already at that time I was fired up. I was inspired, to be an entrepreneur. Then I entered the competition, which is a business plan competition. So winning that competition, I think it did give me the boost in terms of just my confidence and obviously the startup capital that I needed to actually start the hosting company.
Okay, so that's where you started Host River.
That's when I started Host River.
Okay,
yes.
All right, in 2006, eh?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us then, with all this varied studying background and studying all over the world, which I think is obviously quite an important thing. I think so many people just study locally where they stay. They don't even go into RES and places like that. What are the most important life lessons you learned from living and studying overseas?
I think first of all, it opens up your mind. I
Sure.
always say to a lot of people that traveling does something amazing to your soul. First of all, you lose a little bit of who you are and you gain a little bit of what they are.
Yeah.
And then you become a different person,
Yeah.
So just your perspective in terms of the world, the opportunities and what life is about. And I think one man once said that, the world is like a book. People who don't travel, they just read one chapter.
100%.
So you get an opportunity to read different chapters of the book,
Yeah.
and it opens up your mind, And
Okay.
in fact, it makes you believe that all things are possible if you
100%.
just see what other people are doing out there. Yeah.
How many chapters have you read to date?
Sure.
How many chapters are there in the book and how far are you?
I think I've read 14.
14 of about 17 chapters? Or
14, I don't know how many countries are in the world.
There's not enough fingers and toes to count.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Guys, and when we're back, we're going to be talking to Madoda a little bit more about the businesses that he's founded.
You're tuned in to Soapbox Radio. Podding it out there with My Line Boots. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at My Line Boots and on YouTube at My Line Boots Live.
Great. Madoda, you mentioned just now your first business, Host River, finding that business. Talk us through the process of finding the business, why you found the business, what services that business provides.
Yeah, it was actually my first business. Like any first thing, I messed it up big time.
Okay. At least you're honest about it. That's a good sign.
Messed it up big time, and yeah, I started it because at the time, internet was just new.
Yeah.
Around, there was actually no Gmail, there was no Facebook, no Twitters, none of the stuff that we actually used.
Used to get those modems that you plug in and they go
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
And when I got back, I found out a lot of businesses. I was actually designing websites.
Yeah.
That was my specialty, and
Okay.
that was my passion at the time. And I find that as soon as I designed websites, there was a need for hosting. Then I started putting up my own servers so I can host the clients that I had.
Yeah.
But the more I do it, the more I realize that was actually a need to turn this into a business. And that's how really Host River came about.
Okay. And you host a lot of companies throughout the African continent. Do you specifically target Africa, or is that just where the businesses come from?
And 90% of our clients come from South Africa,
Okay.
but we've got clients in Tanzania, we've got clients in Ghana, we've got clients in Kenya, and then Zim as well, yeah.
Competitive space?
It is a very competitive space because barriers to entry are very low, especially internationally. In South Africa, there's not a lot of hosting companies, because it is a regulated service. So you need to be accredited by ICASA, before you could be an ISP or a hosting provider. But it is quite competitive, and it's also very expensive to run because you have to spend so much money on putting up the infrastructure first.
Sure.
Before, whether you have one client or a million clients, it doesn't actually matter.
You got to have the same back office.
Yes, you have the same back office, really. So it's quite an expensive business to run, Hence, I said I messed it up big time, but we had 10 years to fix it.
Okay, has it been 10 years, eh? I suppose 2006, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's almost 10 years,
So there's big parties to be had this year, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And it's ups and downs, running a business is not like in the business plan.
Yeah.
It's not just a straight line. There's dips, there's ups, there's downs, etc. But all in all, I'm glad I did it.
And I think the success of any business, this business, any other business, is how you deal with those dips.
Yes.
I think that's what defines you, because like you say, it's never going to be a straight trajectory, at this level or that level. But how you respond to challenges, how you respond to things that come your way, I think really defines you as a business person.
Not true.
More recently, you've started a new business called Open Tenders, a portal for connecting business with procurement opportunities. That sounds like an interesting angle.
Yes, in fact, it was not even a new business. It was just a project of Host River.
Okay.
I've been hosting for a lot of small businesses, and I interact with quite a lot of small businesses. And in most cases, the problems is always access to information, whatever kind of information. In South Africa, access to procurement opportunities was what I think is the biggest challenge, and still is the biggest challenge for a lot of guys. And I can tell you a typical scenario for any small business. You are inspired to start a business, or you got retrenched from your work, and then you register your PTY, you get your tax clearance, you get your B certificates, then what?
Yeah. How do you actually go and source the business?
In most cases, that's what happens, and by and large, a lot of, small businesses, in fact, start benefiting or giving services to government before they even go to private sector. Private sector, it's very difficult to break into that space. So hence I thought Open Tenders could be a great platform to actually profile these opportunities, so that for someone who's new, who's just started, where to actually find the opportunities. That was the inspiration behind it. Yeah.
And how many small businesses is Open Tender servicing?
Plus minus 60,000 or so.
60,000. Yeah, sure. So creating great opportunities.
Yeah, plus minus 60,000 or so. And again, like any other business, Open Tenders started very well until our government decided to do what we're doing. National Treasury launched their own portal.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
they did.
Yeah.
And since then, I wasn't sure whether to actually just work with them or compete with them. So it's still one of those
things that you're earning out.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing to have a private interest.
Yes.
In addition to what government is doing.
No, I agree.
You know, and I think as corporate South Africa, which I would classify as corporate South Africa, I think there is a responsibility and incumbency upon us, or upon you guys, to help small businesses activate and get involved in the corporate space.
No, I agree.
And that's really what I enjoy about what you talk about when you say Host River.
No, I agree.
Okay, so the businesses don't stop there. I know when you and I have been speaking lately, you've been telling me about this new foodie app that you've got in the pipeline, and I believe is going to turn the whole food space on its head.
We're excited.
Which seems to be a regular thing in your wake. I see you use a bit of a speedboat down the Vaal Dam, and there's a wake behind you, and this is another wake that you're creating. Tell us a bit about that.
I can't talk much about it right now, but the way
Come on, Madoda, this is a safe space here.
The way Host River is structured is that I've got a passion for technology in general, the infrastructure, which is what hosting is, internet services is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
But moving forward, we're looking into going into various aspects of the mobile apps. Hence we're coming out with different things. Some work, some don't. We'll see how we actually disrupt the industry.
Something along the foodie line. You've committed to that, so I'm putting that out there.
Yeah,
that'll excite lots of people.
Just watch the space. That's all I can say.
Timeline, do you think?
Give and take. The year is almost over. Hey,
I know, it's
year
crazy.
is almost over. I thought we were gonna do it this year, but fingers crossed.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff that we're working on behind scenes. But I'll talk about it when we're ready.
And we're gonna have to get you back on the show and chat about
Definitely.
that. I think next week if we go shopping in Sun City, we're gonna see the Christmas decorations already. You know what I'm saying? So tell us then, Madoda, what are the 3 most important life lessons you've learned on your journey so far with this varied career, this varied start to life? Such experiences that you've had.
Quite interesting question. Persistence. That's one.
Yeah.
It always takes longer.
Yeah.
In real life than you actually imagined or than you actually wrote on the business plan. And what makes a difference between the guys who actually succeed and those who fail is how long you actually stay in the game.
Okay.
You just have to wake up, dress up, and show up. Eventually it works out. And the second thing is life does not happen to you, but life happens for you.
Okay.
In most cases, I think just your emotional intelligence is what what actually helps you out. Not everything is going to go according to plan, but if you just stick with it and just believe that the universe is working for you, Oprah says just be, it's going to be okay. Yeah. That's the line. Like, just relax, it's going to be okay, And the third thing, never be afraid to dream.
Sure.
Yeah, don't be scared to dream. Dream as big as you can. But that said, it's okay to start small.
Yeah. I think everybody starts small. You've got to start somewhere.
In fact, it is actually preferred that you start small.
It's the better path.
It's a better path, yeah.
Great, 100%. When we come back, we're going to be chatting to Madoda about a special collab we did together with Hello Joburg Magazine. Madoda was this month's Jozi guy. We're coming back now.
You're tuned in to Soapbox Radio. Podding it out there with My Line Boots. Share your thoughts and be part of the show now. Send a message on Twitter or Facebook at My Line Boots. Find My Line Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at My Line Boots, and on YouTube at My Line Boots Live.
Great. So last month, I styled Madoda in a shoot as part of a collab between my blog, My Line Boots, and Hello Joburg Magazine.
Yes.
And we called it the Jozi Guy, trying to find out, trying to crack down to the essence of what the average Jozi guy is like in Joburg. And that's what we were looking to do. So make sure you get the June issue of the Hello Joburg Magazine. If you're watching us on Facebook Live at the moment, Madoda is showing you what the cover looks like so you can identify it at your favorite bookstore. We played around with a classic look using a 3-piece Ted Baker suit and a custom-made shirt from Bespoke in Rivonia. Madoda, how does that look that we put together, how does that tie in with your personal sense of style?
Firstly, it looks amazing. I'm your, typical tech Silicon Valley look. Like, I'm always on jeans and techies and t-shirts. I feel comfortable, working in front of a computer, with that look. And generally, that's how I look like. But, having to go classic, on that suit, with the bike, in the venue where we shot, and just, that contrast between the old and the new, was really amazing. And it came out really well. It actually inspired me to wear more suits.
Oh, really? Okay. You've got to tag us in the shot so we can see you in your suits.
Definitely.
Really? Sure. I mean, that shirt was amazing that Judy made for you. Hey?
Oh, Judy.
Handmade, bespoke.
Handmade. Guys, they must check it out, on Instagram. I'm sure you posted quite a lot on that.
Bespoke.
In fact, it feels like it's just part of you. In the past, I've always, I'm not a big fashionista, if I may put it like that.
Okay.
I'm just inspired by code more than clothes. But having to actually have that shirt and see the process of, from measurements to it being custom made to actually how it feels
perfectly,
and then it becomes part of you, and it's just an amazing experience. I'm not going to the shops to buy shirts anymore.
No, you got to go see Judy. If you want shirts, Judy's the lady to go and see from Bespoke.
Custom made, tailored man.
But now you've been naughty because you've been to the gym since that shirt was made, so it needs to be adjusted to fit you.
No, it needs to be adjusted. I'm working on something else, on more shoots, so I'm bulking up a little bit.
Okay.
I guess I need to take it back.
Are you training for that Arnold Classic where you do like the bicep curls or whatever those guys do at that Arnold Classic the other day? Are you involved in that?
No, I'm not involved in that, but
Okay.
I want to do some shoot and I can't talk much, but it needs shoulders popping.
Okay. So we need to visit Judy again.
Yeah.
Now that Triumph Cafe racer that we had for the shoot, that motorbike, that was absolutely amazing. And that venue that just so, like you said, the contrast, the old school, the old versus the new. Yes. I really enjoyed that. Did you enjoy shooting there?
No, I enjoyed shooting there. It was actually one of the most amazing places where I've ever shot, and the pictures came out really well.
They did. Philip did a really good job.
He did a really good job. I think the whole direction of the shoot, and how you actually thought about it, how you conceptualize it, and the whole contrast for me really worked very well, and especially with the bike, that bike is just amazing. Guys, they actually go and check it out online.
Exactly. I think it's
those pictures.
Yeah. Make sure you grab the June issue of Hello Joburg magazine to see the full spread that Madoda's talking about. Also on Hello Joburg, and on my blog tomorrow will be out the blog post. And have a look and see. Perhaps maybe you are our next Jozi guy. Madoda, you're also a brand ambassador for Remy Martin.
Yes.
And we're part of their first campaign in South Africa, one that has been called one of the most impactful of the decade.
Yes.
The campaign is centered around the concept of individuals using their one life to do many things, and rides on the notion that we are all called and purposed to be more than just one thing, which I think you really are the embodiment of. Talk to us a little bit about the campaign and Remy Martin, what Remy Martin means to you.
Yes, I mean, first of all, I was very honored when Remy decided, that, can you actually partner with us, on this campaign? The campaign is called One Life, Leave Them.
Yeah.
And like you rightly put it, that from Remy's point of view is that we can be many things, within one life, which is actually true. We only gonna live once, but within that one life, we have an opportunity to be so many things. We have an opportunity to pursue all our dreams, and there just basically no limits, into that. And when they were looking for a brand ambassador, they were looking for someone that sort of like embodies that concept. And for me, it's not just a campaign; it's actually my life. I'm inspired to be whatever I want to be whenever I get an opportunity, and I don't want to be sort of like put into a box and defined by just one thing. I'm defined by many things, and I've got many passions, and I want to have an opportunity to pursue those passions, within this one life, that God has given me. And so the campaign has really been amazing, and I think big up to Remy Martin, for this campaign. And it's actually a global campaign. It's not even a South African campaign. It's actually a global campaign, and it's really about inspiring South Africans. Go out there, dream big, don't limit yourself, be what you want to be.
Sure. Very inspirational. Lynn's just come to us on Facebook and saying Madoda is a huge inspiration to many, and love that he does not only have clients in South Africa. Thanks, Lynn, for your comments, and thanks for listening to us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Youth Day, Madoda. I have a passion for youth, and I think what makes me sad in our country at the moment is that the youth feel that there is no future for them.
Yes.
I would actually hate to be in matric, probably wrong thing to say, but in matric at the moment, with the prospects and what has been said to youth at the moment in terms of, there's just no hope. Unemployment is this rate and what rate. So Youth Day is coming up next Friday. What's your message for the youth of South Africa, Madoda?
Dream big, and don't limit yourself. I think our truth be told, today's youth are in a much better opportunity, or a much better position, than probably we were, in our times.
Sure.
And I think what they are missing, is the ability to dream. They have the technology, they have the means to actually create the life that they desire. I think what the youth of today need to know is that their future is in their hands. It's what they do with that. You can spend all your time on Instagram and Facebook and just chatting to your friends, or you could actually create something that changes the world. It's really up to you. If you see what youth out there are doing, compared to what our youth is doing, I think they just need more inspiration.
And I like the fact that you've mentioned a couple of times this afternoon the dreaming.
Yes,
that's where it all starts. I know things in my mind. I mean, this radio started with a dream as well.
Yes.
My blog started with a dream, and I think you're so true. Just get it going in your mind. Start living it in your mind as a dream, and then these things become reality because you have a passion for them.
It all starts in your mind. If we all gonna sit here and think it's all doom and gloom, the world is going to, South Africa is going to hell, or whatever it is, then that's what we're gonna get.
Exactly.
But if we all become optimistic and say, for my part, this is what I'm willing to do to move this country forward. This is what I'm willing to do to employ people. This is what I'm willing to do to actually create technologies or solutions that changes, our lives. There's just so much opportunity. And then again, I think what South African youth is really, really missing is inspiration. They are not inspired enough.
Yeah.
That's my take on that. Sure. And not to say all people are not messing up. There's a whole lot of things that are actually going on that can be very depressing in this country.
Sure.
Given that, it's up to us to actually decide what our future looks like.
100%. Well, I think you're a shining example of that inspiration. I mean, just listening to you and understanding a little bit more about your background, I think that's inspirational to people who are youth at the moment. Not only youth, anyone listening, really. It's an inspiration to them. So thank you very much for spending some time with me this afternoon.
It's a pleasure.
I'd like to just wrap up and quote you in your own words. Madoda's quoted as saying, "Dream big," a theme that he's continued with us this afternoon. "Dream big and work insanely hard. Don't hold back and don't wait for it to come to you. Go out and get it. Life is beautiful and what you make of it. Do big things. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to fail either, because only by learning these lessons can we succeed."
Yes. Fear of failure is what holds people back. Look, if you read any story of any successful person out there, they failed time and time again. In fact, failure is not the opposite of success. I'm sure you've heard of that. It's actually part of it. It's a journey to success. Again, if you're going to be worried about what people think, what your parents think, what so and so think, and then you're not going to achieve much in this life. Dreaming big. Actually, a friend of mine just wrote a book, and one of the things that he said there is that the dream is free. So dreaming big is free, but the hustle is not.
No, you got to put that work in.
You got to put that work in, and sometimes it costs your soul. The failures can be big, but if you stick with it, eventually you win.
100%. Madoda, it's been great having you this afternoon. Everything of the best going forward. Guys, that was Soapbox Radio. I'm out of here, and I'll see you again next week.
You've been listening to Soapbox Radio, potting it out there with my Lime Boots. Find My Lime Boots on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. At My Lime Boots, and on YouTube. At My Lime Boots Live.